Welcome guys. In this new tutorial, I'm going to show you how to recreate this character using vector drawing in Alight Motion. And not just vector drawing, you're going to learn how to use the bend tool and some tips and tricks on how to create something like this. All right, it's been a while. Well, not that long. Let's say 7 days ago that I created a tutorial. And I'm sure if you've been following our channel, you are following the tutorial also. Our goal is to make sure that you learn how to use Alight Motion to create animations and be creative. All right, so let's get started with this one. Now, as you can see, I've already recreated this myself. Before I do the tutorial, I have to go through what I want to teach you guys first, so that I will figure out the best way to show you guys how to do something. Very important. All right, so I already have it here. I've already created it here. And you can see I created everything on this main timeline. Maybe down the line, if we start creating character animation, you learn how to group your layers according to how you want to animate it. All right, so this is the final output, but we're going to recreate this from scratch. All right, so let me go out of this one and let's create a new project. All right, you can give a project a name, very important. The aspect ratio, we are going with 1:1. The resolution, I've already said, based on the emulator I'm using, the highest I can go is 540p. So from your head, you can have higher resolution, that's fine. All right, for the frame rate, that's fine. Background, fine. Then we can just create a project. All right, so I'm sure by now you all know how to create a project. Very important. And if you don't know how to do that, we have a tutorial on that, so you can just check it out and learn. It's not hard. Okay, so now we're going to create this. Now, the essence of this tutorial, like I mentioned earlier on, is for you to learn how to use the vector drawing. I already have a tutorial on this, but we are still doubling down on this. All right, now this is not complicated. If you take a look at it, it's not that complicated, but you are still going to learn one or two from this. So all right, so first of all, let's start by I don't want this background. Let's use another background. So I'll just click and add a rectangle. Click here and let me fit composition area. This is a fast way to make the rectangle fill the whole composition. Very important. All right, so now let me go to the color and fill, and I'll go this color. You can choose whatever color you want, but I think this one is fine. All right, so now if you take a look at what we're creating, you can start from anywhere. That's fine. But I want to start from the body, this part. I want to start from this part, then we can work our way up. Now, like I said, if you're creating this for animation, like if I'm trying to animate this character, the way I will create it will be different. No, I will create it the same way, but I will have to group them according to how I want to animate it. But in this case, I'm just showing you guys how to create this character. All right. So now we have our background. Now let's start with this. Now, if you take a look at this, you can see that the base shape for this is a rectangle. You get the base shape is a rectangle that was modified. Well, you can also create this by using a vector drawing tool. Just click and click. You can also use a vector drawing tool for this, but in this situation, instead of using a vector drawing tool, which can work, but it's not going to be that efficient, because now we have to find a way to match the other part like this, and you just spend way more time trying to arrange the points. Okay, so now in that situation, we just have to use a rectangle. So I'll just click and bring in a rectangle. Straight up, when you add the shape or anything to your timeline, you still have to modify it. You get. So out of the box, It's not giving us what we want. That's fine. So what we need to do now is go to our edit shape and you play around with these values. Okay. Now for the height, let me bring that the height down a little bit. All right. So I'll go to the move and transform and bring this down like this. Okay. All right. So now let's go back to our edit shape and probably I'll stay. Let me just reduce it a little bit. For the height, maybe the height is too much. Okay. So I'll go to the move and transform again and bring this down. All right. Now I think we made a mistake here. We should make use of a rounded rectangle instead because of this rounded edge. Okay, so let's make use of a rounded rectangle. So I'll delete this one and bring in a rounded rectangle, which is this one. Okay, I'll just bring this down and just extend it, something like this. And don't worry about the height. You can just easily bring this down like this. Okay, like this. Now, the reason why we're using a rounded rectangle is because straight out of the box, it gives us this rounded edge. That can make the work easier for us. All right. Now, okay, let me still bring this down a little bit like this. Okay. Now for the radius, I think I have to let me increase it. You can see using this gives us this option of rounding the edge of our rectangle. Okay, now when you add a rounded rectangle or a rectangle or a shape layer to your timeline, most of the time you have this option edit shape. But now we are done editing the shape. You can see we've moved around the value, we've increased the radius. Now we want to manipulate the points so that we can further mold it to what we want. Okay, so now in order to do that, we now have to convert this from this edit shape to edit point, because now I want to edit the point. So all we just need to do is click here and convert to outline. So when you convert to outline, you can see this tab changed to edit point. Now if I go into this, you can see we are now given the ability to edit the point of this rounded rectangle. You get? Now what we now need to do is move around this point to get the shape we are looking for. So now for this one, let me just bring this out a little bit like this, and click on this one to also bring it out a little bit like this. All right, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but you know, to get the job done. Okay, now for this rounded edge, you can also play around with it if you want. You know, move it anyhow you want, so you get what you want. But in this situation, this is fine. I guess that's let me undo that. Okay, come here. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, let me just bring this out like this and bring this one out again like this. Okay, now like I said, you can still go ahead and play around with the edge and all of that. That's fine. Okay, now this middle point, I'll need to add a point here so that I can bring this part up. So let me just scroll. You can see this green dot is going to show you where your point will be added. Now I can just click this plus 14 here to add a point here at the middle. All right, so I can just move this up a little bit. Move this up like this. Okay. All right, so let me round off the edge, and just bring this close a little bit. Okay. All right. Now, working with vector points is very easy. You can see just you adding points, removing points, playing with the handles to get what you want. All right. Now, for this one, you can see that when I click on this, it only gives us one handle. Yes. So sometimes that's fine, but let's say in this case, I want to undo so that I can smooth off this other edge. Well, you can click here to remove the handle as a whole, and click again to add the handles. Now this time it's going to give you two handles. Okay. Now you can just bring this closer again, like this, and this, like this, like this, something like this. All right. So this one also the same thing. So I'll just click to remove and click to add. All right. So just bring this close together, and I think I'll just build this out a little bit. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but to get the job done. All right. So I think this time, well, we've messed with these handles now. So I guess that's fine. Okay. So let me just bring this one to be a little bit like this. Okay. All right. This is good to go for me. This is good to go. So let me change the color. This, and let's go to our border and border and stroke, or what they call it, and add a stroke. Okay. I think 4.5 is good. All right. So now the next thing is okay, let's add a line. Let's add a line on the shirt. Okay, so this one is very simple. We can use our vector drawing. So let's add a vector drawing, and let's go somewhere here. Click the plus to add, and let's just go down like this and click again to add. Simple as that. Now you won't see anything, though what you're saying now is the fill, and we don't want the fill, so you can just click to remove the fill. Now go to your border and shadow and turn it on. Simple as that. Now for this other part, I want us to be consistent. So in order to do that, let's duplicate this one. And you can see if we move it, we have to rotate it and all of that. We can just easily use our mirror effect. So go to the effects, add effects, and I think that's fine in the, is it the distort? Yeah, this, and add our mirror effect. And you can see straight up, it will flip it horizontally, but if you want to flip it vertically or wherever, but at the get-go, it flip it horizontally. All right, and this is what we want. So let me show you. Let me show you what it does. So you can see if I turn it off, you can see it's back and it's back at the original position. If I turn it on, it's mirror it. You get. So that's the use of the mirror effect. I'll just move it back. Well, there's more use to it, to the mirror effect. I'll show you down the line. So just keep watching. All right, so we have this, and I think I can just increase the stroke. Let me just give it 5 is fine, and this other one also make it 5. Anyways, okay, now the next thing we have here is the color. Now this one is how will I put it, it's quite tricky, but not that tricky, because this will test your knowledge about vector drawing. Okay, so now let's start. I'll click and let's activate our vector drawing once again. And in this particular section, I'm going to show you how to draw this and how to use the mirror effect to mirror the other side of the color. So that's very important and very useful. Okay, so now let's add our first. And now one of the things is, after doing something like this, just take a look at it. Where are the places you add points? Then you can go back and refine those points. Look at the places you can add points. Then after adding those points, you go back and you refine it. Now in this situation, let me go here. You can see we can add the points here, add the points here, add the points here, 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 and here. So we can add a point in 4 places, and we can now manipulate those points. All right, so we add a point here. You don't have to be. Then add a point like this. Then like this. And now to close it off, just click here and click here. Well, we don't want to add another point. Okay, I guess we can add another point in between. So now we now have a point here. Okay, so now we have the base shape ready. So it's now time to refine this point. So let's start with this one, this obvious one, and let's smooth it off because by default it is sharp. So let's smooth it off. So now we have this. So we can click on our undo and just bring that in a little bit like this. Click on the main point and just drag it in. Let's drag it like this, something like this. Okay, now for this one, also bring this in a little bit like this. Now, for this point at the middle, let's also round it off. So like this, and click, and also bring it down a little bit. Okay, now something like this. All right. So you can still go back and modify it and all of that. Okay, now before we go further, okay, let me first of all change the color and turn on our stroke. Okay, before we go further, let's add the neck region. So click, and this one we can just use a rectangle for this, reduce it for the height, also bring down the height a little bit, and let's just a quick one. If you add a rectangle to your timeline, you want to edit it, always make sure you use the edit shape option. Get very important. Don't try and reduce the width and height by using the scale. Make sure you use this one. No, makes it easier. All right, now let's bring this one below the color we just created, and I think that's fine. So let's change the color. This is the skin color that we're using. So in case you don't have this color, just look at it. You can try and match it. I don't currently, Alight Motion don't have that option where you impute, let's see, where you can impute values, but you can try and, like, see, you can try and use this wheel, which is 100% here, 59% and 100%. These are forever. Okay, so now let's add the border and shadow, which is this one. And that's it. Let me just increase it a little bit. Okay, now let's modify this color again, and let's push it somewhere here. So let's go back to our edit points. This one, I think I have to just bring it out a little bit. And this handle here. See, if you want to edit just one handle, you know, when I move this handle, the other one also move. You can click here. Now, only this handle. Okay, well, I don't think, yeah, I think you can, is this one. Now, only you can see, only that handle will be manipulated. So, very important. You can see it's not affecting the other handle. You can see. But now, if I turn this on, you can see, yeah, the both handle is affected. Just a good thing to know. All right. Okay, so now for this one, I guess we just have to spin this and also push this like this. And technically, let me just push this out of the way a little bit. Okay, so now we can duplicate this, you know, let me show you. Simple, you can just duplicate this one and now flip it. You can flip it horizontally, you can see, and try to, you can say flipping it horizontally, and if I try to align it like this, well, we now have an issue. Now I'll have to adjust this one and adjust this one and adjust this one before we can make it fit perfectly like this, like what we have here on the character. Now, this is where we now use our mirror effect. We have used it earlier on, but we are going to use it in a more advanced way. So let me delete this. Now, this one is this one want to mirror now. We'll go to our effects, add effects, and here's the mirror effect. Okay. So if you check the blending mode, what we have is normal. And if you click on it, you can see we have several options. We have over, under, multiply, and screen. All right. Now for the normal, multiply, and screen, this one affects how the copies, the item you are mirroring, reacts with each original copy. All right. But we're not diving into that now. What we are after is the under, the over, and under. They both do the same thing, but just that what the over does is that the copy you created will be on top of the original one, or if you choose under, it's going to be below the original one. Well, in some case, it doesn't matter. Like in this case now, we are going to separate the both of them. So over, under don't really matter, but let's just choose over. Now you can see if I choose over, you can see we have another copy. Well, let me show you. Now I have to go to the offset and increase the offset. You can see. So now we now have the same copy, but we can move them out like this. All right, so move it out like this. And you can see we are back to that same problem we have initially when we duplicate this layer. You get. But now, the reason why this mirror effect, this mirror is the best solution for this is that now we can go back to our edit point and move these points. If we move these points, this other copy is going to move with it. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So now for this, you can see it moves with it. Okay, let me show you there's just a little bit of issue there. But let me just adjust. But you can see, just as I'm adjusting this, the copy is also adjusting itself, which is very important. Now for this one, let me also just move this. You can see moving the point also moves the copy with it. Now we are able to align this together. You get, as simple as that. You can see. So using a mirror effect gives us this freedom. Now I'll even say this is one of the reasons why I want to show you guys this tutorial. It's because you guys can see the power of using the mirror effect and vector drawing. So now with this, you can easily create some identical looking shapes. All right. So you can further modify this color and all of that, but that's fine. All right, so let's complete the shell. Let's add this line. We can just use our vector drawing for that one, and let's start somewhere here. Add a point and just bring it straight down. Now, always watch out for this red line. So this red line is telling you that you are on a straight line. It's very important. And add another plus button, however. So now let's go to our stroke and turn it on. So you can just increase the thickness 6.5. That's fine. All right. So for this button, I wanted to just in the next 5 seconds think how we're going to create this button. It's a very simple one, but we're going to create it. All right. So you can see these are just cycles. So creating this, you just need to use 2 cycles, right? Yes, you are right. But we can also use a mirror effect for this. You get. So instead of just creating 2 cycles and adding more layers to our timeline, we can also use the mirror effect for this. So the essence of this tutorial is just to make sure that you guys, when you're working with Alight Motion or any other software, just think of how you can use the tools provided to you to make your work easier and faster and more efficient. Now you can see in this case of this color, we can easily go back to this color and adjust it. And the other duplicate will also adjust itself. As simple as that. All right, so now let me just add a cycle and just scale it down. Scale it down. And just bring this over here. And let's go with the color done on the stroke. Okay, a little bit thick. Now, just love to scale it down a little bit. Okay, now in this tutorial, we can now go back and add mirror effect. Now, we can just increase the offset. Okay, you can see the blending mode is still on normal. So we can just change the blending mode to over, under, depending on what we want. But you can see that it's offsetting it horizontally. That's because by default, it's horizontally, it's our horizontal option that is highlighted. So we can just change it to vertical and just increase it vertically. So you can see it's moving the other way, but that's when we can still go back to our position. Try to. Okay. Now we can go back to our over and transform and just reposition it. All right. So you can see instead of creating two cycles, we just use one cycle. And it also gives us the freedom of adjusting the distance between the two cycles. You see, as simple as that. All right, so I think this Alight motion has frozen again. Let's wait for it to load. All right, so guys, please always make sure you like and share. You get, so that we can keep pushing the channel forward. All right, so let's go back to the project. Yes, it's okay. Just zoom out a little bit. All right, so let's. All right, so let's start with the head. So this one is very simple. The head is very simple. So let's start with the face. And for this one, we can easily use a rounded rectangle. You get? So just click to add it and move it in place like this. Okay. Okay. Now go to our edit shape and just try to play around with it like this and just increase the radius. I'll increase the radius to around something like this. Okay. Now for the width, you can just increase it. And this is fine by me. Not too much. It's fine by me. All right. Simple as that. Now let's go to our color field. We give it a color. Turn on our stroke. Give this, I think 5.5 is good. Okay, now this is the base. Maybe from your end, you don't like how it look. Maybe you want to adjust the jaw or something. Like me now, I want to adjust the jaw. So all we just need to do, since we've already modified it like this, we can do what we do best by going here and convert it to an outline. Now we have access to the points. But you can see straight up, this one give us 2 points. But in this situation, we don't need 2 points. So we can just remove this point. But you can see removing that point affects the shape. Now, if you are not if you're not play around with vector drawing long enough, this might scare you and you might undo and say, let's just leave it the way it is. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But in this situation, we need to remove the point so that we can adjust this very well. So remove it and it disfigured the shape. Now we're now left with 1 point. Now even this one also has one undo. So that means we need to remove it and add it back. You can see now it looks different, but that's fine. All we just have to do is adjust our undo like this. Click on this one and let's just reposition it again at the middle like this. That's it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you know. So let me just readjust it again like this. All right. So I think probably we still need to move around in this point. No. Let me move it down a little bit. Well, it doesn't have to be perfect, but at least something close to what we're looking for. For this one, just okay, this is fine. All right, so now I have to spend a lot of time modifying the handles. We'll just go with this one. Okay, so now that we're done with the base, we're done with almost half of the face. Now let's go with the year. So as I was creating the year, I just then this idea just as I was creating the ones the sample, I had this idea. Oh, instead of creating this separately, since these are just made of shapes and vector drawing, why don't I just use a rounded rectangle, one rounded rectangle for the years? So let me show you how I did this. All I just do is bring in a rounded rectangle, go to the edit shape, and extend it out a little bit. Now for the y value, I just bring this down. Though I can still modify the length, so, and the radius also. All right. Now I go to the color and fill, add this color, go to the border and shadow, and also turn on the shadow like this. Now what I now do is bring the behind the head. All right. So let me just push this up like this. You can see. So I just come across this trick. Now this also makes it very easy because now we can also further adjust the length how we want, like this, and probably the height a little bit. So let's make sure that this is at the center. You can see, as simple as that. So I just decided to use a rounded rectangle, place it behind the head, and you can see we have a year. So instead of trying to create a separate shape for both of them. All right, so that was a quick one. Now let's create the hair. So it's also very simple. We use a rounded rectangle, and all we just have to do is modify it. You get so, and this one also, there's a trick I want to show you guys here. This one will made use of an effect to finalize this look. Okay, now let's increase the rounded rectangle, the radius. All right, and let's increase the height like this, something like this. So now to see what we're doing, let's place this behind the whole body, just above the background. Okay, now let's give this a color. Which color did I use? See this one? I think. Let's go with this one. Okay, now let's add our stroke a little bit. Okay, so now all I have to do is adjust the width, the y value, yeah, I think okay, the y value we can just adjust it a little bit. Now for the x value, you can just bring it up like this. Okay, yeah, I think we can just increase the y value so that I can bring this one down. I'll just bring it down like this. Okay. Now, I think I have to just increase the radius a little bit. You can see. So we can have that rounded top. All right. Now you can see this is close, but you can see this this sharp edge a little bit. Yeah. It's not giving it that nice curvature. Like, this is good to go. If this is what you want, that's fine. But this is a tutorial, so I would love to show you guys things that you can do to smooth out this edge. And yeah, the reason for showing you guys how to do something like this is because you might not even use it in this case, but later on, maybe you're working on something else. Since I already show you how to do this, you can also, just use that knowledge. All right, so let me further increase the y value here so that I can push this down. Just bring it up and bring this one down like this. Okay. Now, like I said, I want to smooth out this parts it's not smooth enough for me. Now, in order to do that, there's an effect for that, which is called the smooth edge. You know, so I've used it here. So you can find that effect in the join and edge section. You can see it. Here's here. Here's it. Smooth edge. So let's add it. And let's just increase. You know, the effect is very simple. All it just does is if you have a sharp edge or all those sharp edge, you can just help you smooth it out. As simple as that. Okay. So let's just increase the strength. Push. You can see. You can see what it gives us. Very, very, very sweet. Then I can see if I turn it off and on, off and so it smooths out this edge. But one thing is, it also affects our stroke. It affects our stroke. But I think that's a trade-off. That was good to do because from your end, you can if you don't want it to affect the stroke, you have to go back and adjust the point manually. I think this is good to go. This is just me showing you how to use the smooth edge, that smooth edge of your points. Okay, and something you can easily turn it off if you don't want, or you can turn it on. All right. So now we're almost done. But how about this head? This the lines in the head. How are we going to create it? When I was creating that sample, I come up with different ways of creating this, which kind of work, but the workaround is too much. I have to first draw a shape, and that shape now has a stroke, which I now have to cover that stroke with a fill. So after doing all of that, after doing those workaround, I feel like, no, this is not the best way. That method will work, but that's not the best way. So I have to just think outside the box and use this method, which I'm about to show you now, which is very simple. Now, since this is a face, this is a shape, the head, you just have to use the head, the face. Okay, now if we go to edit shape, you can see we already have a point here. We already have this point. So what we need to do is add a point here and make use of this point. Okay, so let's start with this one. So let's go here and scroll. So around somewhere here, let's add a point. See, now we can bring that point down like this. Like this. Simple as not too much, like this. Okay, now for this one also, let's also bring that point down like this. Well, I guess this one. Okay, I think we should just have to move this one a little bit. Okay, so now it now boils down to you just playing around and manipulating all of this. Now for this one, we need to be sharp. So we can just click this to remove the handles. So you can see sharp now. Now for this one also, we also need it to be sharp. So you click to remove it, as simple as that. Now for this one, you can just bring this up. Now for this one, I guess we need this one too to be sharp. So just click to remove it. Now for this one, we need the two handles. So let's bring this close a little bit. And let's just bring this down. All right. Okay, you can see. As simple as that. Okay. So you can still go back. I think this one is 2, and just bring this one down. Yeah, see. So all we just have to do is add points and move those points. That's all. All right. So we've created everything, and these other ones are very simple. So let's add the nose, say the cap or what, I don't know. So let's click and let's use let's use a rounded rectangle, and let's reduce the height. This and the read. Okay, now for the width, let's also bring down that. Let's bring down the width. Okay, and move it up. This probably still have to bring down the width. and that height. So let's bring it down like this. Okay. Now, for this one, let's change the color. Yeah, I think just go to pure white. And for the border and shadow, let's add a border and shadow. All right. Now you can see this shape is not looking like what we have here. All right. So, like I say, if you have a problem like this, just think about the effects that you can use to achieve this before you can start, playing around with the top points and adjusting and doing all of that. So just take a look at this. Which effects can we use to achieve this? Okay, well, maybe you don't know, but effects. Let's go to our distort section and look at it. We have the bend effect. So I just click to add it. Now, straight up is not going to give you what you want. So let me just increase it. You can see it's not so even giving us what we want, but you can see the origin here. We have left, right, top, bottom. As you add the effect, most of the time, you don't even know which of the origin will work. You get, first of all, just, increase the angle so that you can see the effect. Now you can now go through these options to see which one works. So for this one, top is also not giving us what we want, but right is giving us what we want. You can see left is not giving us what we want. Left is like it's flipping it, but right is giving us what we want. So we can now increase. Let me just make this. Okay, I think 45 is good. Just enter it 45. Okay. So now some will still be like, oh, this effect is there, but not there. But all you just need to do now is go to your move and transform, go to rotate, and just rotate it. As simple as that. Just rotate it like this. All right, so I don't know why that part cut off. There a reason for that? No. Let me move this. Okay. Don't know why that part's cut off like that. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? This is a very interesting one. When I was recreating this, I don't have this issue. Okay, I think the reason why the part cut off is because this, you can see the outline, it's outside the composition. Okay, so because I can see now, if I move this back down, you can see it's not showing. But based on the outline being outside the composition, that's what is affecting it. Okay, so I think there's a workaround for this. But first of all, let's look at it. Okay, now we are good with this, right? I think the best we can do in this situation is to group this. Let's put it in a group. Let's put it in a group. So you can see now we can move this. You can see even at that is still, but we're no longer having that issue. Okay, so we can just scale this and just replace it. So this is a normal thing. Sometimes as you're working on all this stuff, you'll be having all these issues. So all right, now let's just add our props, which we already have here. Motion has already given us, give it to us. So we can just increase thickness. I think the color even somehow match. So we'll just go with the color like that. Increase the thickness. Put on scale. Just scale this down. Okay, the stroke is not a lot thicker. So what will we do? We'll need to go back to our border and shadow and reduce it. Simple as that. All right. Now the eyes, the nose, these ones, very easy. Now let's start with the browse, and let me add just two straight lines, and okay, let's remove the color, and let's just add our. Let's just add this. Okay. There's an issue with this, but let me show you. So now if I go in and add a bend, because now I actually want to bend this, you get, though we can create this with a vector point, create 3 points and try and smooth out the edge. That will work. But sometimes you just have to do it the best. You can see adding a bend effect, the shape disappear. Okay, so using a vector point will not work in this case. So we just have to think outside the box, and the best shape we can use is a rounded rectangle. So let me show you. All you have to do is make it small. All right. Now let's bring it in like this. And for the height, also bring it close like this. Okay. Now for the color, let's go to black. Okay. And so one tool to using the rounded rectangle is that we can further play around with the size and the height. So I think 4 should be okay. All right. So now adding a bend effect to the rounded rectangle will not disappear this time. So let's see, increasing it. It's not giving us what we want. So let's go to our right. Right is still giving us what we want. So let me just keep increasing it, and let's say 90. All right. Now let's go to our and rotate it. Okay. Here's the align motion app also freezes. It freezes now. Okay, so now guys, from your end, just make sure you practice. That's just it. Watching the tutorial and all of that won't really help. Just like I'm showing you guys how to recreate this, you can also start recreating it alongside. And your free time, you can just go to Flaticon or FreePix, or just where you can get resources that you can try and recreate. You get, so very important. I don't know. Okay. All right. Let me close the app and restart it again. Right, so the app is back on. Okay. So now I need to do, I think it's looking okay. Minus 25 degree looks nice. So we just bring this up. So like I said, we can go back to edit shape and maybe try and reduce the length, you can see. So this one also gives us that freedom. All right. Now we can use the mirror effect, but we can just easily duplicate this and move it out like this. All right. Now for the eyes, suggest shapes. Okay. So just scale this down like this and reposition it like this. Like this. Okay. Now for the color, choose this one, and the stroke. Just this one. All right, so let us duplicate this. Like I said, you can also use the mirror effect for this. Try and use the mirror effect, you get, and separate it. But I just decided to go with this. There's not every time you want to make use of an effect to, sometimes you just have to just do it. So for this one, let us duplicate this one and use it for the mouth. Let's bring this down. You can see changing it upside down will make it look angry. And you can just state it like this to make her smile. All right. Okay, now for the nose, I'll want to use a vector drawing for that one. You can just easily just add here, move it, then do bit, add, and move it up, bit, and also add. Simple as that. All right. Now for the color and fill, let me remove the fill, and let's add stroke like this. It's not looking aligned, and let's align it. You can see. Simple as that. Now for this, it's looking too sharp. You guess the effect we're going to use. Smooth edge. Add our smooth edge, disappear. But you know, you can just apply it a little bit. Okay, so all right, our the nose stuff is not looking good. It's not looking good, so we can just probably bring this down. Okay, bringing it down will not solve the issue because that's where it needs to be. So we can, oh, you can see. So me just reducing the composition view solve the issue. All right, so guys, that's how you create something like this in Alight Motion. And I'm sure you've learned one or two. You see, learning one or two adds up. Every time, you don't even need to watch this tutorial anymore, and you'll be creating it on your own.